The nautical world invokes scenic images often linked to pleasure craft. Even if the vision is of sun and fun, we must remember that most activities at sea are linked to the professional side of the nautical world. Sustainability is a recurrent theme in the nautical world. However, sustainability must be measurable. Venezia represents a unique testing ground as everything revolves around environmental balance. The Laguna Veneziana has a rare natural ecosystem, and from an artistic perspective, it is dotted with monuments that must be safeguarded. Venetian daily life plays out on the water. Therefore, the local economy must be considered when proposing complex solutions, as these are difficult to integrate for operators and users. On Venezia's 1600th birthday, Bimotor gives Venice a quantitative assessment that makes an important contribution to the sustainable development of the city. Together with European partners, we have launched an initiative for evaluating the emissions on the type of boat that supports logistics in Venice. One, rarely heard about, called the Mototopo. It's a workboat for transportation purposes, typically used in the Laguna Veneziana. We will evaluate in the field, or rather at sea, emission deviations between a non-emissioned engine and a Stage 5 unit. Yes, but what is Stage 5? Stage 5 represents the strictest emission level for engines that navigate in inland waters. For marine engines below 130 kilowatts, FPT has managed to keep emissions within the required parameters without using complex catalysts. Integrating the Stage 5 engine is the same as in the past, and the user will not notice any difference in the vessel's operation. Each test cycle lasts an hour and a half. Departure from the slip in Mestre, crossing the stretch of lagoon that runs along Ponte della Libertà, entering Venezia via il Canale del Canareggio, then Canale Grande to Punta delle Dogane, turning onto il Canale della Giudecca and returning to Mestre via Canale Petroli. We will use a PEMS, which is a portable emissions measurement system, the most precise portable measuring device for testing gaseous emissions. It is normally used for the development and homologation of on-road motor vehicles. We know no one has ever installed a PEMS on a Mototopo before. We understand that performing a comparative test in the field should be based on all external factors being equal, as these can influence the results. External factors such as the small differences in weight and vessel condition, environmental conditions, traffic on the lagoon, the pilot, and consequently considering these inevitable deviations, it was decided to standardize the emission values observed on the fuel quantity to obtain comparable information from a quantitative viewpoint. The method used can certainly be improved, but we are able to provide Venice with the opportunity to evaluate in an undisturbed and stereotype-free setting the actual advantage linked to implementing the best technologies in terms of internal combustion engines. It is very hot in Venice this July. The only things that do not seem to feel the heat are the engines, which show no signs of fatigue, as well as our pilots, Francesco Rivoli and Michele Bacci, who are used to defying the lagoon's sun. The first engine to be analyzed is the NEF 250, set at 125 kilowatts, Stage 5, installed on El Nono Chile. 4 cylinders inline, counterbalanced, equipped with common rail injection, turbocharged, and aftercooled. After a slow transfer that takes us from the TCE headquarters in Mestre to the entrance of Ponte della Libertà, we start the measurement phase at around 10:45 a.m. Now the breeze, even though lukewarm, gives the impression of a cool day, while the engine pushes hard, ranging between 2200 and 2250 RPM, allowing our Mototopo to reach Venezia with ease. The entrance to Il Canale del Canareggio obliges us to release the throttle. Venezia is in front of us. It is a privilege to be able to cross the center of the most beautiful city in the world on such a lovely day. The canals are not excessively busy due to the G20 taking place. It is also a privilege to be able to share this moment with the Venetian operators who tirelessly support the city's development. The engine speed is between 850 and 900 RPM for the entire 30 minutes it takes to cross Il Canal Grande. For a moment, we forget the reason why we are in Venice and let ourselves be lulled by the waves and light breeze, and the beauty that overwhelms us at every corner. And away we go under Il Ponte di Rialto in front of Ca' Farsetti e l'Accademia. Then a quick curve to the right, to the tip of the customs building under the watchful eye of San Giorgio. The RPMs ramp up to 1450. Il Canale della Giudecca is busier than Il Canal Grande. Il Redentore supervises our passage through the Giudecca, and in a few minutes we leave the Molino Stucchi Hotel behind us. We find ourselves next to Ponte della Libertà on our return to Mestre after having collected the data. We are ready to transfer all the instrumentation to the other vessel. We enjoy a quick break while letting the PEMS recharge its batteries. Afternoon, it's 2:30 p.m. The equipment must be reassembled on Claudia, the other boat that rested in the morning. This one, equipped with the same transmission as the one tested in the morning and with a similar hull geometry, is equipped with an F-150, which equips many transport boats in the Venetian lagoon. 6-cylinder inline rotary mechanical pump injection aspirated with 110 kilowatts at 2800 RPM. It's 3 p.m. We depart. We proceed along the same route and at the same speed as this morning. This is possible thanks to the boat's GPS and PEMS. For the moment, we started at Ponte della Libertà. The PEMS operator's words left little doubt. This is a different engine. This time the scenery is truly magical, even more so than in the morning. The sun is high, the canals are clear, and the facades of the noble palaces and churches are reflected in the water. The Mototopo advances on the Canal Grande, and around us the city takes on surreal tones. But we cannot give in to such beauty. We must focus on repeating what we did this morning while keeping an eye on the equipment and data collection. 4 p.m., we're back to where the afternoon's journey started. We are tired but satisfied. In a simple comparative test, using state-of-the-art equipment mounted on a first-ever application of its kind, important and remarkable information is revealed. Clearly, we expect a significant difference between the data collected in the morning run using the boat equipped with the F-250 and the data collected in the afternoon on the F-150. And so it is. Analysis on nitrogen oxides, unburned hydrocarbons, and carbon monoxide does not lie. The F-250 Stage 5 compliant engine released on average 45% less emissions than its older brother, F-67, with peaks of 50% reduction when crossing the urban part of Venice. Thus taking home a message as strong as it is simple. Starting today, cutting pollutant emissions in half is possible without complex and expensive interventions. We care about environmental sustainability, but we cannot ignore the needs of those who make boats their livelihood. Bimotor understands and manages alternative and electric technologies for the propulsion of work and pleasure boats. Reliable, solid, and consolidated technologies, characterized by a rather high technical complexity that doesn't necessarily give any advantage in terms of environmental sustainability unless tied to a Stage V combustion engine. This comparative test shows that employing modern Stage V engines is the starting point for classic marine applications and constitutes the most technologically sound basis for the utilization of hybrid and alternative technologies. On this hot summer day, we did our best to demonstrate that the use of cutting-edge engines is an essential prerequisite for environmental sustainability in Venice, with a focus on the user and his economic and operational requirements. 1,600 years of noble and prestigious history for the most beautiful city in the world is not a number to be overlooked. This figure alone deserves the attention of all global operators, and the industry cannot simply stand by but must be proactive. Bimotor is at the forefront to propose solutions that are compatible with the needs of the city of Venezia, its life, its economy, and its unique beauty in the world.